Hello, and welcome to the third episode of Anime Territory. I'm your host this week, Benjamin, along with, as always, my roommate slash the resident weeaboo, Johnny.
Hello.
So, today we will be discussing Devil is a Part-Timer, the dub. We will begin discussing our top 10 anime, but first we are introducing a new segment that we call 30 for 30, but after calculations, it is now called 32 for 30. So, Johnny, would you please explain our new segment?
Yes, so we're going to try this segment in place of Rule of 3 for a couple of episodes. Who knows? Sometimes we'll do Rule of 3, sometimes we'll do this. But this all started, a couple of years ago. I was on Crunchyroll's store for whatever reason, or maybe they emailed me about it, but they're like, hey, you can buy 30 anime DVDs for $30. And I'm like, that is a dumb idea. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a lot of reject garbage. So I did that several years ago. We've watched, 4 of these things, maybe? I've watched 4 of these things.
Yeah, I only remember watching 1 or 2, maybe.
And some of them are things I'm like, oh, okay, this is like 3 random episodes of Eureka 7.
Yeah.
I've seen that show before. I guess I own this DVD now. Or like, okay, I've heard of this. There's a few movies in there which are the best, but a lot of it is just like 3 episodes in the middle of a series that was
yep.
of varying levels of interest to me.
3 episodes of a random anime.
Yes, so this week we randomly decided which DVD we should watch. We didn't want to pick one. We thought that might be too interesting, and we'd leave all the bad ones at the end, or too bad, and we'd leave all the interesting ones at the end. So I texted my friend Joe, who looks exactly like Joe from Digimon. So you got a picture in your head there. And I said, hey, pick a number between 0 and 30. And he said, okay, 17. Now the reason I said 0 to 30 is because I thought it was supposed to be 30 anime DVDs. And then I counted, and I'm like, hey, there's 31 anime DVDs in here. So I'll just put 0 to 30. Then I looked at it closer, and one of the DVDs is actually a 2-pack of 2 DVDs. So I got to steal 32 anime DVDs for $30. But we watched the episodes 5, 6, and 7 of Morbito, the Spirit, or the Guardian of the Spirit, something along those lines. Spirit Guardian.
It was Guardian of the Spirit.
Yes.
Episodes 5, 6, and 7. So we skipped the first 4 episodes.
Yes. And then I've got the next 6 episodes also came in that pack. We've got volumes 2 through 4 of this show, but not volume 1. Will we ever watch volume 1? Maybe. I don't know. You're never going to watch volume 1?
I'm
okay.
Not. Unless it's in there.
No, it's not in there.
Then I'm not watching.
Okay. So what did you think of this show? I know what you thought of this show, but tell the viewers what you thought
I thought it was boring. That's probably because we started halfway through it.
Yeah.
But it was boring.
The episode we started on, the main character who would be in the action scenes was injured and just lying in a bed. There's a bunch of characters I don't know the names of, and they're they're hiding from the law. So from what I gathered of this show, what goes on in it is this girl is given a job to bodyguard the second prince of this land or kingdom or whatever by the prince's mom, but
also
she's
known
blamed
as the queen.
Yeah. Well, they kept calling her the second queen, so I'm assuming it's either the second wife after the first wife died, or the king just has 2 wives. It's possible.
We only see 1.
It's true. Do we? I don't know if we. I assumed we saw her, but that's, again, we're not given a lot of context for who these characters are because we're expected to know them by this point.
Yes. But we don't.
But she was given that job, and then the king wants to kill the second prince because he's got a water demon or water spirit egg inside of him that's going to hatch and cause a drought or something. So, we watched this show, and it was... I kind of liked it. It gave me the vibe of when I was a kid, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and turn on the TV, and Adult Swim would just be playing some random anime. It kind of gave me those little, creepy vibes, like when I saw a random episode of Full Metal Alchemist before I had any context for it, or a random episode of Inuyasha before I had any context for it. Watching those shows in context, I don't quite get the same spooky feeling that I had as a kid. Maybe just because I was, a teenager or an adult when I watched them, and not, and I have the context for it, so it's not as spooky. But I kind of got that vibe from it, which makes sense because if I read the cover of the DVD correctly, it actually did air on Adult Swim at some point. So I don't know. I kind of like the vibe. It was a little atmospheric. I'd be interested, but not a lot really happens in these episodes. Yeah. I think you started reading the newspaper at one point.
Oh yeah, last episode I just started browsing the newspaper.
Which, I mean, we just read headlines really in the newspaper. Yeah. It's all, we just get a free newspaper that's all fluff. So, but yeah, that's so you're not gonna. I mean, you're at some point you'll be forced to watch volumes 3 and 4. But
for these 3 episodes, I wasn't impressed. It didn't grab me. The only good thing that I kind of liked was I thought I had good music. Yeah,
music was nice. I mean, again, it's just kind of atmospheric. It lended itself to the atmosphere of the show. I can't speak. But I guess that's really all we have to say. Did we finally cover one of these succinctly? Normally we go off on weird tangents on this first segment.
If you want to go on a tangent, we can.
Do you have a tangent in mind? I don't really have anything in mind.
Nope, not really.
Johnny Young Bosch showed up as a random soldier once. Yeah. That was nice.
And Izzy's the main guy.
Yeah, Izzy from Digimon. Yeah. We should. He knows our friend Joe from Digimon, right? See? So we got connections.
Boom, connections.
There we go.
Okay, so you liked the first episodes, 5 through 7 of Moribito.
I would say I was interested in the show, and those were weak episodes of a potentially interesting show.
Okay. Gotcha. I was bored.
I could tell.
Moving on. So our main topic today is the show Devil is a Part-Timer, and we watched the dub of it. This is the first dub we're covering.
Yes.
So do you want to try to go through the plot, kind of the main plot, or do you want me to go through it?
Well, I've got some notes here, but we're trying this a little different this week because we spend way too much time talking about trivial plot details. So I didn't take as many notes this time. Let's just give the general premise of the show for people who don't know. The show is several years old, but there might be people who haven't heard of it or haven't actually given it a time. So
the general plot of the show is that we start out in this other world called Inte Isla.
Yes.
Where Satan is basically fighting a war against the humans for control of the land.
Yes.
At first, he's winning, taking all of the continents. There's 4 of them, 1 for each direction, blah, blah, blah.
Editor's note here, we lost some audio. Basically, Ben says that even though the Devil King was winning at first, the hero and the church start to rally forces, beat him back, and they are defeated. He enters a portal that will take them who knows where. It turns out it's Japan.
So now, once he's in modern day Japan, they soon realize that, they have been turned from hunky manly dudes into scrawny teenagers / 20-year-olds.
I would definitely say 20-year-olds.
Well, they say their age is technically 21, but anyways, and then they lost their most of their magic.
Yes.
So they're basically stuck here. So they come up with the idea of just basically blending in and trying to just live in this world until they can figure out how to get their magic back. So the first episode is just basically that. Them finding out kind of the customs of Japan, how to get all the stuff they needed to live, and then him getting a job at McDonald's.
Which is in-universe McDonald's, basically. If that's not clear from the name, McDonald's.
Yes.
Another lost audio issue. This time we start going into the list of characters. So we start with our main character, King Satan. And then we should have the rest of the character description was saved. When he's in Japan, obviously he can't go by the name King Satan. I guess he never tried, but
I don't think
it'd be a little weird. So he goes by the name Sadao Mao,
Mm-hmm.
which Mao, M-A-O, is, I believe, kind of like or maybe it's a truncation of the Japanese word for like demon king. So he's kind of hiding in plain sight with that name Mao.
Did not know that.
It's something like that.
Okay.
I don't speak Japanese. I just pick up a few weeb things here and there. But he is our hardworking demon king. He gets this job at McDonald's. He's the only one in his household. McDonald's, home of the Big Mig.
Is that what they called it, the Big Mig?
I don't know. That's what I called it. My notes, home of the Big Mig. I thought it was funny. He's the only one in the household who works for a living.
Yes. Because he has his right-hand man with him.
Yes, so immediately joining him, the two of them alone in the world is Alciel, his right-hand man. He goes by the name Shiro Ashia. He's basically the housewife. He turns into the domestic partner. He's always cooking the food and budgeting things and doing the laundry and cleaning up. And
wasn't he originally like assigned to be like, find out how to get out of here?
Oh yeah, he was assigned the job, like, okay, while I'm working, you research this world's magic so we can go and try to figure it out. But it turns into him being like, okay, well, I read some books at the library about the pyramids.
And then I became a housewife.
They live in a very small, rundown apartment because it's affordable. Eventually, my favorite character shows up, who is they buy a bike named Doulahan.
Yes,
who's their trusty steed.
Trusty steed Doulahan.
I mean, he's not. It's just a bike, people, but it's great. I love it every time I see Doulahan. It's like, there he is. The hero has followed Satan to the human world. Her normal name is Amelia, but then in the human world she goes by Imi Yusa, which Amelia is a regular name, so I don't know why she decided she really needed to change it. But that's kind of a thing that shows up. Everyone that shows up from the fantasy world takes on a Japanese name.
Well, it's an American name. Her last name's USA. So.
No, her last name is Y-U-S-A.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I could have sworn it was
She
USA.
was questioning the United States. Why USA? Why?
Oh. I wrote down USA.
That's not how it's spelled. We see it spelled at one point. I can guarantee you that.
I don't remember.
But she threatens, like, her magic is also pretty low, so she can't directly summon her holy sword to kill Satan, because she will not have magic to go home at that point.
Yes.
So she's keeping an eye on him, constantly trying to get in his way, make sure that he's
not plotting anything.
Not plotting something or hiding under a ruse. Our next main character is Chiho Sasaki, who works at McDonald's with Satan.
I'm just calling him Satan. You can call him Sadao if you want. I'm calling him Satan.
Okay. So she works there, and she is like a 17-year-old, 16-year-old high school girl that works part-time job at McDonald's, and quickly falls in love with him for how hard of a worker and how like he takes care of. Eventually, he becomes a shift manager, and he's like giving rousing speeches to his subordinates.
Satan's just a nice guy.
Yeah, that's what we learn. Eventually, at one point, Amelia is like, "Why are you such a good person now? When in the fantasy land you murdered thousands under your name."
That's basically the plot of this show. Is why is Satan nice now when he killed thousands of people in
It's like, you ordered the death of my father and my entire village. Why are you now showing this kinder side? And Satan is like, I guess I realized humans were people. I didn't realize that. It's like, all right, whatever. Come on, Satan. You gotta be better than that. Keeping my eye on you. Back to Chiho. Definitely in love with him. She is, I would say, the show points this out. One of her only other features is that she's got big boobs, and all the other females are pretty jealous
Yes.
of that fact. Now I also wrote down the character called Miki Shiba, who's their landlady. It's like a glamorous, rather large woman. Nobody knows why, but she knows of Inte Isla and brings it up, and nobody questions it or says like, "How do you know about this?" But so there's obviously something else going on with her, but she doesn't hide the fact. She straight up mentions to them.
Well,
that she knows
she's never seen him again. She goes to Hawaii and that's it.
Yeah, she goes to Hawaii about halfway through and then mails them things to worry about, like, "Hey, sell this stuff for me."
Because it's weird because like she mentions,
"Hey, you've got this new tenant coming in. Be kind to her." But the new tenant has never met her, so
it's just weird that like they mention that she knows of like Inte Isla and like the different world, and then they just throw her off to Hawaii. It's just like, okay.
Maybe we'll get more in season 2. I never bothered to read any of the source material for this. Now we're getting into some of the characters that show up later.
Okay.
So there is.
Do you want to just kind of do first impressions first, and then maybe talk a little bit more in depth?
Yeah. Before we go into any of the other characters, let's do impressions. So I've seen this show before.
Mm-hmm. I have not.
I've seen the show subbed and dubbed, and maybe subbed one more time. This is definitely my second time viewing the dub.
Okay.
I like this show more then than I do now.
Okay.
I would say that I just kind of grown as a person, and the jokes didn't quite land again the same way that they used to. But I would still give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. It's quality stuff. I want to see what goes on in season 2. I am intrigued. I kind of just set this one aside as, okay, that was fun, and I'll never. Maybe we'll rewatch it someday, but we'll probably not, worry about it too much because it was good enough to watch and be excited for season 2. Wasn't good enough for me to read any source material.
Okay. So I thought it was just okay. I wasn't too impressed with it, honestly.
Okay.
I think maybe because I was expecting a different show. Because I was expecting more of like a slice of life comedy where it's just the devil working at McDonald's.
I noticed that a lot of the times when you'd laugh, it's just when he's working at McDonald's.
That was like my favorite part.
Yeah, it is the best part.
Because what I was expecting was, again, a slice of like life comedy where devil's just working at a McDonald's and it's just his everyday life at a McDonald's.
And he has to worry if he should use his last source of magic to fix the grill so that they can make the specialty fry items.
Yeah, but then they have like 4 or 5 episodes where they just throw in this like magical fantasy subplot where they have to like fight other people and everything. I'm just like,
well, but at that point, why wouldn't you just make a show that's just a guy working at McDonald's? Like
that's what I wanted.
You wanted an anime about a guy working at McDonald's.
No, I wanted an anime about Satan working at a McDonald's.
Okay, but if you don't throw in magical elements, why does it matter if he's Satan?
Because it's funnier if he's Satan.
It's just like, yes, that character. He used to be Satan.
Yeah.
Now he's just a normal guy. It never gets brought back up again. It's just a dude working at McDonald's, and his name is Satan. And some girl.
You can have that like subplot where he's like trying to find like a way to get back, but they went a little bit more fantastical than that.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is that we're not teenagers anymore, and we're not trying to come up with plots that sell to teenagers. Like we would go hysterical, but we've always liked weird shit like that. It's like, hey, this is the premise, and it's never brought up again. It's like we love that weird bonkers stuff, but they're like, yeah, we have to
make this interesting.
We have to make this interesting for teenagers to watch, which means there needs to be action. So and it's got to sell books, and then the name is just to sell. The name is to sell books because that's how light novels work. It's just here's a ridiculous name, and then if the name is ridiculous enough, people will be interested enough to buy it and see what the heck they're talking about. But yeah, you kind of get into it. Other people show up and try to kill Satan or try to kill the hero. I wrote down, I guess the church that sponsored the hero and fought Satan was getting tired of the hero's power, so they're like, they kind of turned bad guy. I wrote organized religion is the bad guy for once in history. Organized religion is the bad guy. But they get another character shows up whose name is Olba, who's like a high priest.
So this is like your first like big kind of action / like plot device.
Mystery. Because they're like, who could it be? Who's been sending us these weird messages? And
there's been like weird like earthquakes have been happening.
Yeah, earthquakes have been happening. There's been a rise in muggings. So like, there was it made the local news. Like, there was another mugging. It's like, man, Japan just lives a better life than we do. A mugging in like Chicago would not make it to the news.
But yeah, so then it's like halfway through like your first 4 or 5 episodes, we get the reveal that it's this, what I called him Egghead. What was his name?
Olba.
Yeah.
He's a high priest, and he's working with Lucifer, one of Satan's former generals, a fallen angel.
Yep.
And then they learn at that point that the fallen angels and demons can gain magic from negative emotions around people. So they like cause like disasters and stuff, and the rise of muggings was so that Lucifer could absorb magic from the negative emotions of people and therefore be able to take out the weakened Satan. But then they mess up and they cause big destruction, which causes mass chaos, which then Satan can feed off of.
Yes.
And then kick their butts.
Which is what happens.
And then I guess they Olba gets arrested by regular police,
Olba,
which I love.
Yeah, Olba gets arrested, then we don't hear about him.
He does show up again later because he was like hospitalized, and
he does show up later, but I wasn't going to spoil that.
Oh, whatever. This is free form talking about it. We're a spoiler show. We're just not gonna, just because we're not going episode by episode about what happens doesn't mean we're not gonna spoil things, because we're in the in-depth part here. We're past our initial impressions.
Okay.
And then I guess they just decide that Lucifer learned his lesson, so he gets to live with them. He's like, Satan's like, you're my subordinate, so I have to take responsibility, and you shouldn't have betrayed me like that. Now you have to work for me again. But he just stays in their house and researches stuff on the internet and plays games and stuff. He doesn't do a lot.
Tracks people.
He buys trackers to track the hero and one of their neighbors, which is another character that shows up later. Another neighbor shows in. Suzuno Kamazuki is how we're introduced to her, but her Inte Isla name is Crestia Bell. She's like the...
Crestia Bell?
Yeah, you didn't get that?
No, I didn't.
You did say her name several times.
I don't know names. Crestia Bell.
Yeah, but she's like the head of the church's Inquisition department. I mean, they don't call it the Inquisition, other than they're like, this is just a fancy name for a second Inquisition.
Didn't they call her the bailiff or something?
I don't know if they said that, but she's in charge of hunting out heretics and killing them. Mm-hmm. So she is monitoring the household. She thinks that she's doing a good job of disguising the fact that she's from Inte Isla, but it was obvious. In hindsight, we're told that it was obvious to everyone. Everyone already knew. Yeah. But, I mean, we weren't really told that they knew until after it was like, wait, you knew? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then it just revealed that everybody else knew. But she tries to, like, ingratiate herself with them to get them off guard. She makes LCL sick. I don't know if that was on purpose or if it was because he was just trying not to waste all the food.
Yeah. LCL was sick this, like, half of this show.
Yeah.
First it was heat stroke, and then he just got like food poisoning or something.
Yeah,
but like,
which I think it was implied that she was kind of behind both instances of him being sick. Like she was.
I never got that.
Well, I think Sadao straight up says it towards the end. It's like, you did a good job, or keeping LCL sick like that, or or I was impressed with how you were able to get him to be sick.
That must have been one of the episodes where I tuned out a little bit.
Well, yeah, that's maybe we shouldn't watch any dubs because we feel too confident we can tune out. That's why we watched the dub this time.
Better
'Cause
watch
we were too lazy to watch the subs. We're like,
watch a good dub, maybe.
it was fine. This dub was fine. It was not a bad dub.
It wasn't a bad dub.
It was a well done dub. It just didn't have any of like my absolute favorite voice actors in it. So, I mean, other than like Christopher Sabat shows up and Monica Rial show up for like bit roles, the hero's friends in Inte Isla. Do you know who Christopher Sabat or Monica Rial are?
I've heard of him.
Okay. Christopher Sabat is, well, he's Vegeta and Piccolo, which you wouldn't really know much about.
I knew he was Vegeta.
Okay. He's Mr. Brown in Steins Gate.
Okay. I think I knew that.
And then Monica Rial she's in a lot of stuff. Well, first of all, she's in RWBY. You've seen RWBY.
She's in RWBY.
Barely. She's the Sienna Khan, the former leader of the White Fang before Adam takes over. RWBY spoilers. But she's also in Ghost Stories. She's the religious girl in Ghost Stories.
Oh, that's Monica Rial?
Yeah, that's Monica Rial. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, you could tell if you were paying attention. It's like, yes, that is that voice of that character. She's all over the place. She's got a very recognizable voice. She plays Emeralda Kiseki. Emeralda Kiseki is a different character. And then Christopher Sabat plays Albert or something.
Albert, I think is what it was.
Something like
those two don't.
It's
Albert's in one episode.
Yeah.
Which is like, oh, okay, we're getting.
Emeralda shows up on the phone occasionally.
Yeah,
they really don't do much. Maybe they're more important in later books. Who knows?
But yeah, they show up with that like after that one fight, and they're like, "Oh, we're here to help," and then it's like, "Oh no, we're done."
A little late. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay, we're gonna go back. Do you want to come with us?
Yeah. No. Well, they give they have the important job of having a way for Emmy to use magic again. They're like, here, drink these energy drinks twice a day, and you'll get your celestial magic back. But don't drink them twice at the same time, or don't try to drink them all at once or anything. But that's their job, so that the hero character can have no magic at the beginning, but then have a means to fight later on. So that's their job.
Okay.
I mean, that's really all the characters. Other than I didn't even write down the other dude's name, the other bad guy.
Oh, we don't
the manager of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
So, the best part about this show was that part where it's a rival restaurant called Kentucky Fried Chicken opens up across the street from McDonald's, and the manager, who looks like James from Pokemon, so I just called him James.
Yep.
Basically comes over to the store and is just like, ha ha ha, we're gonna wipe the floor with you, and he's a pervert.
Yeah, he's always hitting on women, and it's like, dude, you don't know how creepy you are, right? Like, I think the manager of McDonald's, who he has affections for, is like, he's just, or maybe it was Emmy's friend from work, is like, this guy, he doesn't realize, he's one of those guys who doesn't realize how creepy he is, and he thinks that women like the compliments he gives them.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like halfway through the show, that's like almost the main plot point is just a fast food war is happening, and like
we have to attract customers, and Satan accidentally uses magic by like putting out a bamboo tree with wishes on it for a festival, and that turns into a plot point later. It's like he was accidentally using magic. How else do you think they would have gotten all those customers? It's like, I don't know, because people are fickle and they like McDonald's. It's not that hard. How do you think a clown sells hamburgers to kindergartners? Marketing. It's not magic. Or is it?
That just reminds me. The Ronald McDonald character would be called Ronald McDonald, right? In this universe?
Would he be called Ronald McDonald?
Or to be Donald McDonald?
Probably be Donald McDonald. I don't think they would call him Ronald McDonald. Yeah, so the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy, turns out he's an angel who is like the patron of the Inquisition. He gets his power from the moon. Closer to the moon he is, the more powerful he becomes.
Was he just sent here to kill Satan?
I think so.
That was it, right?
Yeah. And the hero. He's also, because he targets Amy more than he targets Satan.
Yeah,
because he wants the sword back.
Yeah.
The angel's like, yeah, we want the steel that your sword is made out of back because you don't deserve it or whatever because you're fraternizing with the devil, dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight. So we're gonna send the moonlight angel to go and take it from you. But the Olba comes back at this point, and he like uses a spell to make the moon super close to Earth.
Yeah.
So he gets super powerful, but it also causes like mass confusion and hysteria in the area. So Satan gets his powers back, and then Lucifer, who was working with Olba before he switched back to Satan's side, is kind of like playing along with Olba, like yeah, I'll help you again, and then betrays him after the spell has been cast. So then the moon goes back to its normal spot. So Sariel, that was his name. Kentucky Fried Chicken Angel's name was Sariel.
Like cereal?
Yeah, Sariel. I did write it down. I just had it on a different line.
Oh.
And his human name was Mitsuki Sarue.
Okay, I just called him James.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's what he looked like. He just looked like James from Pokemon.
He did look like James.
But they're like, okay, so now you don't have as much power, and Satan's got a bunch of power, so he wipes the floor with them. And then a running theme is that every time Satan defeats somebody in battle, he has to use all his magic to fix the surroundings again. So he's magicless again, and he can't get back home. Much to his chagrin and Chiho's happiness, he's not able to leave yet. There was a fun swimsuit episode in the middle of that, where he's working at a McDonald's near an amusement park. Some crocodiles get out of their...
Yeah.
A monkey steals the keys and lets the crocodiles out.
Yeah, the monkey's name was Sadao.
Yeah, the monkey had the same name as Satan, Sadao. So that was fun. That was I liked that episode. I'm a simple man. I like swimsuit episodes. I don't know what to tell
it's
you.
like episodes that nothing happens really.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's just comedy situations, and then the devil has to tame the crocodiles when they get loose, and that causes enough to give him some of his magic to control them.
This is that part where like Chiyo shows off her bikini to Sadao, and she's like, "What do you think?" And he's just like, "Oh, this restaurant's pretty good. I like this restaurant." Not getting the hint.
I mean, but he's not that dense in that. I think he was dense in that moment, but he's fully aware that this high school girl is in love with him.
I think so. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah. Well, there's one point where the hero Amelia is like, these are not very devil-like characteristics. Working at McDonald's and being nice to these people, being friends with a high school girl, and you and I are just like, that's a pretty Satanist thing to try to befriend a high school girl. Satan would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, befriend's not the right word. Tempt.
He wasn't tempting her.
No, but I'm just saying, like, that's a pretty Satan thing to get in with high school girls. Satan would want that.
Yeah, you gotta get them young.
When they're dumb and, well, when not just...
Not dumb. Impressionable.
Impressionable, yes. I was impressionable as a teenager. Not that impressionable that I would...
Yeah, I never
be
fell in
friends
love
with
with
Satan. I mean, and Chiho finds out at one point, like halfway through the show, that he's Satan.
Oh, yeah.
And she's just like, no, it's okay. I don't want to forget anything about him. I'm fine with this. Like, you realize he ordered the death of my father. I keep saying ordered the death because Lucifer actually killed her father.
That was like that's like the running joke that we had was, you know he killed your father, right?
Yeah. It's like every time she's slightly nice to them. She keeps up her facade of like, I can't, like, we're not friends, and people should not be friends with him.
Well, there's that. What was it? Emmy's friend character.
Oh yeah,
human friend character. Do you have her name?
I do somewhere. Just keep going. I'll look at it.
But like halfway, the part of her character arc was just like trying to figure out why Emmy didn't like Sadao, and like kept telling her like, "Oh, I think you like this guy." Emmy always saying, "No, I don't." Which you're like, "Yeah, no." Emmy does not like the Satan. He killed her father. It's the Inigo Montoya thing.
Yeah, at one point when when Lucifer shows back up, she's like, I'm pretty sure I killed you. I did the whole you killed my father and everything bit. Okay, I'm Googling Emmy's friend Devil is a part-timer.
You didn't write her name down?
I might have, but it's lost in my notes here because I put some people on the same line. I've got dibs on her, I think. Should we go into our dibs count?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so you've got dibs on Satan.
Yes.
I've got dibs on
I want to
Halcyon.
point out, I call dibs on sexy Satan.
Yeah, when he has all his magic back and he's
Yeah.
big and buff and he's got
Six-pack abs.
six-pack abs.
Goat hooves.
Yeah, hooves and horns of a goat.
Yeah. Just clarifying.
Let's see. We've got Amelia. You've got dibs on her.
Yep.
I've got dibs on Chiho. Nobody has dibs on the landlady, for obvious reasons. I've got dibs on Lucifer because he's got beautiful girl hair. I've got dibs on Monica Rial's character, Emeralda.
Okay.
I've got dibs on the manager of McDonald's, Kisaki.
Good dibs.
And I've got dibs on the neighbor who moves in, Crestia Bell, Susanoo Kamazuki.
Okay. You did not.
I'm looking up what her name is. Give me, I don't know, sometime. Rika Suzuki. Rika Suzuki. I've got dibs on Rika. But she's always like, ooh, is this an ex-boyfriend of yours? You don't want other women to get close to him because you want to get close to him? It's like, no, I don't want this young high school girl to get close to Satan.
The guy who killed thousands of people.
Thousands of people.
He ordered my father to die and he burned down my village. I do not want this guy to be with anyone.
There's a very valid reason why I am trying to help this girl by not be friends with Satan. It's Emmy. Can we transition into the best girl? We didn't talk about this last episode. We talked about it. We forgot to talk about it in the first episode. We hinted at it in the first episode.
No, we talked about it last time a little bit. It was just unanimous.
Well, we talked about ships. Yeah, I guess we decided that we really did like.
It was no contest.
Yeah, no contest.
Yeah.
But best girl, I would say I like Amelia best in this anime.
I would agree. I think Chiho has a little bit of an argument.
Chiho is good. I like Chiho. She doesn't really do much in the show. Yeah,
that's the thing.
And she's just like already when we were introduced to her, she's already in love with Satan. So it's not like there's an arc there. I kind of get the feeling that Amelia respects Satan a little bit at the end.
Yeah.
She definitely blushed when he saved her from Sariel, and it's like, your shirt's open a little bit. Like, so she definitely there's something there. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Okay.
Which I guess best girl naturally transitions into.
So we both agree Emmy's best girl.
Yeah, we both agree. So, but I think this conversation naturally. What'd you call this segment again?
All aboard.
Okay, and then I'll add in the little dock noises and the bell and stuff that I did last time. So, what's your favorite ship? What are some ships we can talk about?
I mean,
there's really only two.
Say some people would say Emmy and Satan. I don't like that ship. The guy ordered the murder of... Yeah, no. I don't like that ship. I would go with Satan and Chiho.
Okay. I can see that. I don't know how I feel, honestly. I kind of like both ships. I have a feeling that the story wants to take me into the Satan Amelia ship there. I have a feeling that that's where it wants to lead us.
Yeah.
But mainly because they're the two main characters. Mm-hmm. So, like, of course, that's a popular ship and where they would possibly go. I get Chiho. I like Chiho with Satan, but I don't know. I'm gonna abstain.
You're gonna abstain.
I'm gonna abstain. So Chiho Satan wins by default.
Okay.
So
no contest.
No, it's a contest. Oh. You voted. I didn't. So your vote wins. Yeah.
Satan and Chiho's the best ship.
Okay. And I'm just abstaining. So maybe when season 2 comes around, we'll see if she gets a second term or not. But who knows? Are you excited? Do you want to watch season 2 of the show?
It's interested me enough to see the second season. I wouldn't say I'm excited for it, but I'll definitely watch it.
So yeah, well, I'll let you know. I'll probably end up watching it week to week, just because I try to keep up with seasonal anime these days if it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think this season, I mean, it's coming to a close, but this season I had an anime every day, but Sunday, Saturday. No, I've got one on Saturday now. So Sunday and Monday, the only days I didn't have an anime that had a new episode come out on it.
I didn't watch a single new anime this season.
You'd probably like Horimiya.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I said I'm watching that seasonally. I binged the first 10 episodes, and then the next day after finishing episode 10, episode 11 came out. So, and I think it's going to end this Saturday.
Yeah, I think this is.
I think by the time people can listen to this, it'll have its last episode out.
Mm-hmm. Next season's, I think, I might watch a couple new ones.
I've seen some things. I don't remember exactly what's all coming out next season. I guess we can talk about it. We'll date the podcast a bit, but what are you excited for?
Well, as we talked about before, this episode, I think there's a good candidate for Rule of 3.
Okay.
Called I Shaved, and then I picked up a high school girl.
Or I thought it was I shaved and then I brought home a high school girl.
Yeah, that one sounds interesting.
That's a Rule of 3 show if I've ever heard one.
Yeah.
I definitely saw that show was coming out. The problem is I know, like, oh, hey, there's a bunch of new shows and stuff coming out. I don't know if they're coming out this season, this year, next year, but that one is coming out next season.
Yes. My Hero Academia is season 5. I still got to finish season 4, but I might watch that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably watch that week by week.
There's one I think called Princess of Blood and Snow or something. That sounds interesting. I might.
That feels like an anime I'd watch the first episode of and be like, and then not watch the rest of it.
I might just give it a shot, see what it looks like. And then there's one more I can't remember. It's, I don't remember. There's
really, what... My trend for picking up anime seasonally is if it's something that, like, it's another season of, I'll eventually see on our anime the discussion for the first episode will be out just while I'm browsing Reddit. And I'm like, hey, that's out? All right, yeah, let me go watch that. Or in like Horimiya's case, I'll just keep seeing GIFs of it on various anime subreddits and be like, well, that piques my interest.
Yeah,
I'll watch that. That seems like it would go to my base needs of liking rom-com animes.
We watched an anime recently where I'm like, yeah, I've seen this scene before from just a meme I saw.
Wasn't that just Devil is a Part-Timer?
It might have been Devil is a Part-Timer.
I think you're like, yeah, no, you've seen it. I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this scene. I've asked you if you've ever seen this show, and you said nope. Which we never really decided what we're going to cover next week. Should we just decide that now?
Yeah.
I kind of give you a list of options normally, and then you pick one. Mm-hmm. But we're going to watch something that neither of us have seen.
Yes.
So have you came to a decision as to which one?
Well, I think our kind of general consensus was Rail Wars.
Okay, so we are watching Rail Wars.
Yes, let's do it.
So all we know about Rail Wars is a long time ago when it first came out, a YouTuber we followed, Douchebag Chocolate, but he calls himself Demolition D. That's just the name of the channel is Douchebag Chocolate. Did a seasonal anime preview. And we'll just say the joke now. I'm sure we'll say it in the episode.
Yes, we will say it in the episode.
Fun train facts I learned by watching Rail Wars.
Haruka know how to work the caboose.
And then I think he just laughs for a little bit in that video.
For like a minute.
while clips just play on of it. So we'll make that joke again.
Yes.
I guarantee you Ben will want to slip it in again.
Yes.
So we'll just give credit where it's due right now. Go, if you like anime, go watch some of Douchebag Chocolate's videos. They are, I mean, that's all the anime YouTube stuff that I watched for a while. Mm-hmm. And then he just disappeared.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'll watch other anime YouTubers who I like, but it's just not the same. They just don't quite have the same level of batshit humor that Demo had. Go watch some of his week. I would say start with his reviews of seasonal anime. think those are a good intro because he just gives his first impressions after like a couple of episodes, and it's always it's a wild ride.
Mm-hmm. So next week we will be talking about Rail Wars. To finish off the show, Johnny is going to start with his top 10 animes. He's going to start with number 10, and then next week I'll do my 10.
Yes. But so we'll give you not next week.
Next episode. Next fortnight.
We gotta milk this stuff as long as we can. So I give my 10, and then you give your 10, and then once we're done with anime series, we'll move on to anime movies. And then once we're done with that, we'll go like 11 through 20.
Sure.
Or we'll think of something better to do. Who knows? Knowing us, probably won't think of anything better to do.
Knowing us, the show won't exist anymore.
All right, I'm dedicated to this.
Okay.
So number 10, and this is fluctuated, but I wrote it down. So now we're going with this order for the foreseeable future.
Okay.
Number 10 for me is Ergo Proxy. Which you've seen Ergo Proxy,
yes.
Correct? I forced you to watch.
I think I've seen it twice.
Okay, I think I forced you to watch pretty much everything on my list here.
I've watched the majority of your list.
Yes. Ergo Proxy is a show that it's better if you don't know much about it. I would say it kind of has the same, when I was talking about earlier, where it's got that same like creepy vibe that you get when you're a little kid and you watch a random episode of Full Metal Alchemist at 5 in the morning when you just couldn't sleep or something, or 1 in the morning or whatnot. But it manages to do it even while I'm watching the show, not even just picking up those random episodes.
Say it's a dystopian future, mystery.
Dystopian future, mystery, action. It's got a great dub cast. I don't think I've ever not watched it dubbed.
I haven't.
But a great performance by Liam O'Brien as one of the main characters. Again, I don't want to say too much about this show, but it is a phenomenal experience.
It's a great slow burn sci-fi.
Yes.
If you want something like that, it's great.
I would say the beginning is probably a little bit better than the middle, and then the end picks back up again.
Probably
Maybe not.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, the first couple episodes are probably definitely your better ones.
And then it used to be available on Hulu. That's where I watched it originally. I own the DVDs for it now. But if you watch it on Hulu, you miss the best part, which is that the ending song is just Paranoid Android by Radiohead. It's just straight up a Radiohead song is the ending. It's like, all right, this is... I mean, it fits. It definitely fits the atmosphere of the show. It's phenomenal. I really wish Hulu had the rights to put that ending at the end so that people could... That being said, I think the ending's still pretty good on Hulu, if I remember correctly. But it's not Paranoid Android. It's not Radiohead.
I don't know if I ever watched it on Hulu. I think I just watched your DVDs.
Yeah, that sounds like you. A lot of Ben's anime is just stuff I've forced him to watch.
Yeah.
Occasionally you'll go and watch something without me. And you've really only forced me to watch one show. Which is probably going to be on your top 10 list somewhere, so I won't say it.
It's probably in contention. I don't know.
You haven't made yours.
No, I have not made mine.
I made mine like 3 weeks ago.
I got to remember what animes I've watched.
All right. I'll give you the link to my anime list again.
Okay.
So that you can watch it. So that's number 10. Number 10 anime series for Johnny is Ergo Proxy.
Ergo Proxy. Go watch it.
Check out Ergo Proxy. If nothing else, check out Ergo Proxy. If you're like, I don't want to watch Devil's a Part-Timer, then don't watch it. If you're like, I don't want to watch Morbito and Spirit Guardian, don't watch it. Go watch Ergo Proxy. It's phenomenal.
Alright, so I think that wraps up this episode. Make sure to follow and like us and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a rating on podcasts or leave a comment wherever we get our podcasts from. It's like Google Play, Spotify.
Google Play, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Casts.
Anchor.
Anchor is where it's hosted at.
Yeah.
Eventually, I think it's supposed to be distributed to Apple Podcasts, but I haven't gotten word back on that. I think Apple Podcasts might be the only one of those where you can actually leave a review. So
whatever.
Anyway, we have a YouTube now. We're Anime Territory on YouTube.
So if anything, like us there. Subscribe, leave a comment, give us suggestions on animes we should watch. I could always use suggestions for Rule of 3 if you know any crazy titles.
You can also follow us on Twitter too,
Yep.
at anime_territory. We tend to put episode links up there. I will occasionally tweet my weird opinions on anime there. Maybe I'll be a little bit more active in it, but so far it's just us and 2 of our friends following us on @anime territory. So if you like the show, give us a follow. We would love to hear from people other than just the people that watch it to pity us or listen to it to pity us. And keep in mind there's actually 2 accounts on YouTube called Anime Territory. We're the ones with a cityscape picture with Anime Territory in the name there. So follow that one. And you can follow the other one too.
Yeah.
Sure, do it. I don't care. So long as you follow us, also follow him. I have not seen any of their videos, but I don't even know if it's them. They may or may not be active. Who knows? If Anime Territory, if you're watching this,
we're coming for you.
We're coming for you. All right.
That's the episode. Again, thanks for watching. Follow us, subscribe, all that. See you next fortnight.
Yep. Adios.